In case y'all are being bamboozled by the media, let me give you the real tea on why TikTok is being banned. From my perspective, I feel like they're banning TikTok not because they're invading our privacies, because let's be real, America's been doing that. It's not because of freedom of speech. Y'all know like how you could be having a conversation with somebody and you're talking about a particular item or a particular location, then all of a sudden you go on your phone and you see that exact item pop up in an ad. That's because they're listening. And there are videos out where people tested this theory. I'm gonna link a video in the description of someone trying this theory out years ago, just so y'all know, like they've been doing this. We don't have any privacy. Or when y'all talking and all of a sudden Siri responds and it's like, I wasn't even talking to you, like I didn't even call you. So you know she's listening, right? Okay. And then it's not because of freedom of speech, because let's be honest, they've been shadow banning content for I don't know how long at this point. Like anyone who comes online and I feel like they're talking about real things and they're talking about the system and they're giving information that they don't want the masses to know, they're going to be shadow banned. That goes against freedom of speech. Or another example that I'm sure a lot of us have seen during the last couple years when we had that little thing going around and they had us locked down, a lot of people would talk about certain things and all of a sudden, oh, this is labeled as misinformation, when it's like, y'all know it's not misinformation. But because it goes against their agenda, of course they're gonna label it as misinformation. And people who are gullible and don't really know what's real and what's not real, they're gonna just take their word for it. But it's like a lot of people are being honest online, but they don't want the truth to be out because that's what's gonna keep y'all slave to the system even more. But the reason why that they're really wanting to ban TikTok is simply for the fact that TikTok has allowed for people to really have a voice. And I'm not saying that other platforms haven't allowed us to have a voice. Like TikTok, in my opinion, is equivalent to Google, but it's coming from people like from different areas. And I feel like when it comes to Google, there's a certain level of, I used to have a lot of trust in Google back in the day versus me now, because I've noticed that a lot of information has been scrubbed or a lot of information is tailored to fit a certain narrative. But if you have a certain question about something that you know is controversial or something like that, you're not going to find that on Google. So for me personally, I feel like Google doesn't have the same credibility like it once did back in the day. The government has a certain level of control over Google to where there's certain information, if they don't want it out, that information is not going to be readily available on Google. And Google used to be a site where you could literally Google something and you would get the information. And now that's not happening. Like I told y'all, there are so many things that I've once saw on Google or just online, and when I try to search it up, when I tell you it's scrubbed from the internet, it's literally scrubbed from the internet. But I know one of my content creators, she would talk about how there was this website, I think it's called DuckDuckGo, before they got bought. If they got bought, I know she would say like that was like the raw authentic version of Google that you could go on and it wasn't biased. You get what I'm saying? Like there wasn't anyone trying to control a particular narrative. So if you wanted to find real information that wasn't tailored a certain way or just manipulated, you could go on that website. But I believe she said it got bought out by someone. I don't know if it got bought out by Google. So it's like that site is almost equivalent to Google because you can't go on there and find raw, unfiltered information. So if the US government is trying to spin this whole narrative of, oh, TikTok is bad because they don't allow freedom of speech, when it's like, y'all don't either. So I don't get it. Like you can't call someone else out for something and you're doing the same exact thing times 1,000. And I feel like the real issue that the US has with TikTok is the fact that they don't have ownership of TikTok. So they are not in control of what is being filtered and what's not being filtered. Like for me personally, I feel like TikTok became my version of Google, where I can go and find trusted opinions of common people from different walks of life, but also in different parts of the world. And over the last few years, a lot of people just within the world have realized how we can't trust mainstream media because you guys are not broadcasting the real information. Like you're broadcasting things that fit your narrative, that fits a certain propaganda, or you guys are withholding information or you're exaggerating certain information. But when you go on TikTok, we were seeing what was really going on in this world. You could see the real, raw, authentic what's going on in the world. And it's just like, wow, like this is not being broadcasted on the news. But on TikTok, we're literally seeing everything everything to where it's like it really makes you question, like, what have we been following this entire time, or what have we been allowing to really direct us and give us information, and we realize we can't even trust it. So I think that's why they're really trying to ban TikTok. On top of, I feel like we see within politics, like, a lot of this world is just a lie, and I will die on this hill if I have to. People need to open their eyes at the fact that we live in the matrix, literally. The world that we live in is not a lot of what people think it is. We don't have the freedom level that we think we have. We're actually being controlled in so many different ways. And the level of control is literally only going to get worse because that is their whole agenda. Like, they're trying to enslave people even more than they already are while they're benefiting off of it. But we think this is normal life. We think this is how we're supposed to be living. Like, I'm sorry, God did not put me or us on this earth to be slaves for the system. It's just not, it just doesn't make sense to me. And another thing that I feel like a lot of us can agree on, that we have came to realize, politics is a whole bunch of BS. And I already made a video on this before. Like Shakespeare said, the world is but a stage, something along those lines. But the politicians are just there as puppets. They're literally all in cahoots, okay? We think like, oh, you know, there's this side and there's this side. Like, y'all, once the camera's cut, they're real buddy-buddy. Like, and I realized that, why are we the people going back and forth doing all of this? And it doesn't really matter what we have to say in this system. It doesn't matter. Every idea that they have for this world, they have it pre-planned years in advance, and they just need things to play out in the way that they need it to play out. But I feel like people need to really understand that, yes, social media, it benefits them in a way, but I always say, I feel like media is a double-edged sword for the higher ups, because as much as it allows them to control us and keep us sucked into the matrix, it also exposes them, because we're able to communicate with people that's outside of our immediate environments, and we're able to compare, and we're able to see through the illusions that they're trying to paint out for us on media. But when we start to compare our own different experiences while we're all separated in different areas, we start to put two and two together, like, okay, 1 + 1, and it's not coming to 2. Y'all are lying to us, and that's the real reason why they're wanting to ban TikTok. It has nothing to do with the little stuff, and I'm not saying it's little, but let's be honest, they've been doing it. So for me, for you to cry out wolf and you're also the wolf at the same time, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I just feel like when it comes to TikTok, it's really because we are waking up as a people, and a lot of people are no longer being blinded by the system. A lot of people are really comparing notes. Like, say if there's a group of people in New York, a group of people in LA, a group of people in, I don't know, like across the world in Brazil or something. So for one, we're all isolated, and I feel like that's been the goal, and I feel like they've done a really good job with that within society, creating isolation amongst people, so that way you're stuck more so in your own little bubble with your devices. So while you're on your devices, we're all picking up information from media, right? And the information is being traveled through different platforms. And with the government allowing us to interact through our devices and just to be on these apps, you have to understand that they want particular regulations there, so that way they have control of what's being seen and what's not being seen. But if TikTok, an app that is not run by the US government, is allowing for raw, unfiltered information to be transmuted in different ways to different people, why wouldn't the US government have a problem with that? I really want people to critically think about what I'm saying right now. The US government does not have control over TikTok. Them trying to make it seem like, oh, you guys are not treating our citizens well. Y'all don't treat us well, so why do you care? You know what I'm saying? It's not about us, it's about them, and it's about them being exposed, which is why they want TikTok gone. And with Trump and Elon and all this robot and the smart cities, the LA fires, just with everything that is to come, that is happening, we are putting 2 and 2 together, and they don't like that, because a lot of people's eyes are open into the system that we live in. And listen, y'all, I'm putting my head on a chopping block by coming on here and picking up this camera and even recording a video like this, because watch, they might try to shadow ban this video, who knows? But I hope a lot of people see it to really understand this TikTok ban has absolutely nothing to do with the US caring about us, because they don't care about us. It's because TikTok is exposing a lot of their dirty laundry, and it's allowing for us to really communicate in ways where they don't want us to be communicating in that way. They want us to know what they want us to know, but they don't want us to know nothing past that, because once we see through their illusion, people are going to start rallying up against them. People are not going to be so easily rocked back to sleep. A lot of people see what's going on. And I always felt like, especially back in the day, when people would talk about certain things, especially with the rise of just like social media and we didn't just have TVs anymore, when people would be like, oh, conspiracy theorist this, conspiracy theorist that, a lot of people aren't speaking the same tune like they once were before, because people are really starting to see like, okay, a lot of these conspiracy theories aren't really conspiracy theories. And I always say the reason why things are really being exposed now is because back in the day, you didn't really have a lot of information to work on, and we just started getting devices that we could really communicate through. But now that social media is such a big part of our lives, we see so much that it's like you cannot deny certain things anymore. Like, you have to willingly want to be ignorant in order to still deny certain things. And the government understands that, which is why I say social media is a double-edged sword for them, because I don't think that they intended for people to really open their eyes the way that we are. Especially, we all seen when it comes to TikTok, like within the last few years of society, I feel like people were always talking about how their attention spans have gotten shorter, and how, you know, people don't really take things as serious, or people are not really feeling as hopeful as they once were. And I honestly feel like there was purpose in that for them. I feel like they wanted to mush people's brains as much as possible, so that when information does come out, you're not really taking it as serious, or you're now stuck between like what's real and what's fake information, and you're not questioning a lot of things, and which will basically like make you shun the truth because you don't want to believe that it's true. This TikTok ban is a lot more than the US government pretending to care about us, because they don't care about us, and that's very clear. And if you don't see that, I need you to open your eyes and see that, because if they really cared about us, a lot of things would be different. And it's not about care, it's about them wanting to control, it's about greed, it's about power, and it's disgusting. And I cannot wait to leave the US. And y'all, if I ever come up missing, I want to make it very clear in this video, even if you don't know me, I never want to harm myself. I don't ever want to run away. I don't ever want to disappear, and I will never even attempt to take my own life. So I'm making it very clear in this video, if something happened to me, and I'm not saying anything is gonna happen because I'm one of God's favorites, I'm just letting y'all know if something were to ever happen. Because one thing I also noticed is the whistleblowers and the truth tellers always end up missing, they always end up unalive, they always end up sick, and then they pass away, which also backs the point that I'm trying to make. Back in the day when social media didn't have so many people talking, when you had the few people that were talking, that were trying to expose the truth, they were being unalived. In this day and age where everybody talking, spreading information, speaking truth, y'all think they about to go and try to say, oh, this person unalived themselves for this reason, this person did this. They are not gonna go after every single person on TikTok or just on the internet for speaking truth. Versus the whistleblowers that really come out and they be spitting truth, they're always unalived, or they're always missing. So that just goes into what I'm saying. Like, this TikTok ban is a lot more than what they're making it out to be. And if y'all see the current state of the world, and y'all see the people we have in office, and y'all see the things that they got going on with these robots, with these smart cities, they have some things planned that they don't want us communicating about. That's really what it's about. And I just hope that we still find a way to communicate. I feel like when it comes to certain platforms like YouTube, when you talk about certain things, they'll shadow ban your videos and they won't push it out to people because they want to keep it suppressed. When it comes to Instagram, they'll label things as misinformation, or they might actually pull the content down and say that it's not meant to be up. So it's just a whole bunch of things. And I really do hope that they come up with another app that's like TikTok, so you know, we could join and talk. But I feel like the only way that it will work is if it's not run by the US government. And if the app is created by a person within the US, I'm hoping that it doesn't get to a point where it does so well that they decide to take the bribe of the government buying the app off of them, so that they could make money. Because I feel like things always go that way. A person might start something with the intention to do good, but then once they're offered a big amount of money, it's just like, you know what, I'm gonna just take that and go hide away. So I really hope that that doesn't ever become the case, but I really do hope that there is another app. But like I said, the only way that I can see it working is if it's not run by the US government, because they're not going to give us the level of freedom to communicate in the way that we want to that is going to benefit us. So that's my commentary for this video, but I'm definitely going to include some TikToks of other people's opinions to basically show that, like, I don't think I'm the only person seeing this. I hope I'm not the only person seeing this. I know I'm not the only person seeing this, but I'm gonna just include some other clips. So if y'all want truth from a person who I feel like I see through the illusions, y'all should just follow this channel, because I have a lot that I want to talk about on here. I just, like I said, need to find a way to do it without getting in trouble. But I hope y'all stick around, so let's roll the clip.
Can we get affordable housing? No. Can we forgive student loans? No. Can we raise the minimum wage while corporations receive record profits? No. Can we stop funding a genocide? No. Can we get free COVID tests? No. Can we stop killing the planet? No. Can we not build cop cities? No. Can we fund public assistance programs like SNAP and daycare for children? No. Can we at least watch videos on an app of people doing fun things and learn about the world around us? No. But don't forget, we're listening to you. We're not listening to those private political organizations that give us hundreds of millions of dollars a year. No, it's your voice that matters, and it's your voice that we're listening to.
I'm in India right now, and these guys have had TikTok banned for almost 5 years now. So the content creation and consumption landscape here looks completely different, and I want to talk to you about it. First of all, there's absolutely no discourse here because there is virtually no dedicated platform for it, and censorship in general in India is very rampant. So I think if TikTok gets banned in the US, we can almost accept the same with very limited discourse, maybe just on Reddit and I guess Twitter for the few people that are there. Secondly, short form content here is mostly limited to skits and like consumer forward things. So like things to buy, things to wear, stuff like that. Nobody is making videos longer than like 1 minute 30 seconds or 2 minutes max in India. People aren't really even on Instagram here either. Everyone spends all their time on YouTube. My 10-year-old nephew will log in and watch those like gamers and like vlog and lifestyle people instead of regular TV. And my grandma, who's 80 years old and can barely, use a phone, is on YouTube as well, watching like old show episodes and just like creators that she feels like she can relate to. Met with Amazon India's content creator lead, and she said that they pour most of their money into YouTubers and podcasters. But the things with YouTubers is that most of them will start on YouTube, build a following, and then they'll completely stop. She said this is because people on YouTube don't make as much money for how much of a heavyweight YouTube can be. Meaning that our creators on YouTube might have an expiry date and we might not be able to tune into them as much as we would want to as consumers. I'm currently using a VPN and my VPN is set to the US, and I mean, it's fine for all intents and purposes. Like, I'm not shadow banned and my algorithm is minimally affected, but I am paying $13 a month for it, which I think if I wasn't creating and if I was just consuming, I don't think would be worth like the cost.
If they wanted to ban TikTok, they would have been banned TikTok, but they don't want to ban TikTok. They want TikTok. The stipulation is not on January 19th, we're going to ban TikTok. The stipulation is on January 19th, we're going to ban TikTok unless it's sold to an American company, because data is the new oil. Data is currency. Your data, my data, all of this data that we are constantly feeding these algorithms that make them better and better and make these companies richer and richer is so lucrative. We are living during an autonomous technological revolution, and AI as a technology is literally changing the way that we all live at an exponential rate. When we analyze technology from an economic perspective, like the cost reduction framework, the purpose of all technology, in principle, is to reduce the cost of doing something by making it easier to do something, keeping in mind that cost is not all financial. There are effort costs, time cost, labor costs, etc. The invention of computer technology was extremely innovative because it reduced the cost of doing arithmetic. Before computers, there were job positions held by human people called computers, most of which were women, by the way, who solved complex arithmetic by hand using their brains. As you can imagine, this made the cost of doing arithmetic, i.e. the cost of computing, expensive because it relied on extremely skilled, highly specialized labor that was hard to come by. And so by reducing the cost of computing, by making it possible for machines to calculate ones and zeros instead of relying on humans to do it, we create opportunities to do things that we've never done quicker and faster, like fly planes or cook food on a stovetop without fire. The invention of Google technology made search cheaper. Before Google, we had to go to the library, a physical location where there were librarians who operated catalogs and databases of information. And so the process of searching and discovery and gaining knowledge was expensive because it took a lot of effort, a lot of labor, a lot of time, a lot of money. And so Google made the process and the cost of search practically nothing, which enables us to make discoveries and execute things in our lives a lot quicker and a lot easier. And so AI technology reduces the cost of prediction. It makes prediction cheap. And this cost reduction framework has shown us that the cheaper something becomes, the more of it we can use and the more opportunity we can create to do things that we've never done before. And the cheaper predictions become, the more we can make predictions. And the more we can make predictions, the better we can predict. And the better that we can predict, the more accurately we can create knowledge. This is the whole premise of artificial intelligence. And good predictions rely on data. Like a lot of data. The reason our For You pages are perfect and we're addicted to TikTok is not because the people at TikTok are geniuses. I mean, they are, but it's because we've given these algorithms so much data. We have liked enough videos, we've scrolled through enough videos and come back to enough videos. We have searched certain keywords after seeing other keywords in the comment sections that we interact with. We've given these algorithms so much data that they've been able to make so many predictions. And the predictions have gotten so good that it feels like the people at TikTok are living in the walls of our houses because we have made these algorithms so artificially intelligent that it feels like they know us. It's not them, it's you. And when people are like, I built my For You page from the ground up, you sure did. And the worst part is, you did it for free. As somebody who works in tech, I know all too well how these companies weasel their little clauses into the privacy policies that basically say, we're going to steal all your data. Yeah, we're going to steal all your data and you're going to consent to it. And we literally click accept. What does this have to do with the whole TikTok ban? Well, to be a leader in the AI space, you have to invest in data. Why invest in data when you can just get it for free? When people like us will literally hand our data, our most valuable currency in the digital age, over to these companies on a silver platter in exchange for our daily, hourly, minutely dopamine hit. They don't care about Americans' data privacy. They keep saying how dangerous it is for Chinese companies to have access to Americans' data. No, it's dangerous for US companies not to have this data, because it makes them vulnerable and poor. It's all about power and money. The more of our data that they can harness and the cheaper that they can do it, the richer that they become. Currently, most AI technology relies on assisted learning. It relies on feedback and data from humans to make accurate predictions. And the vision for AI technology is for it to be unassisted, for these algorithms to learn from themselves and not rely on any human feedback to get smarter and smarter. This is the whole discourse around AI getting too smart and taking over and blase. But to even get to that point, it needs copious amounts of data. And where better to get that data than from the platform that has so much of it and for free. 170 million Americans use TikTok daily. And what's interesting about American data is that it's rich in the sense that the United States is so racially, culturally, ethnically, socioeconomically diverse that at times it can be a fairly good representative of the aggregate of the rest of the world, which is what makes this data in particular so lucrative. And so never mind the fact that we all love TikTok and we have so much fun and we express ourselves and we make money and we learn things, and there are parts of TikTok that unapologetically refute American propaganda. The US government isn't saying, we're going to ban TikTok because it's dangerous for it to be in the hands of the Chinese. They're saying, we want it. We want to be the ones to wield power over and make money off of our constituents, not you. And if that isn't greed, Child, I don't know what is.
Now that TikTok's getting banned, you're gonna have to get a real job. Okay, first of all, I came from a real job. I got a bachelor's degree and a master's degree just so I could work for a corporation and quickly realize, wow, I'm nothing but a number. I'm going to beg, plead, and cry for a 1% raise every week. I make $20 an hour, which totals to 2 bi-weekly paychecks of $1,200 each month. The first one went entirely to rent. The second one went to utilities, the school loans that I'm still paying off to this day, and all of the other bills that you have as a fucking adult. I quickly looked around and I said, well, fuck, I don't know how I'm going to survive. I looked in the mirror and I said, well, let's face it, Brandon, you need a side hustle. You're not that good looking. You're not really that smart. You can't sing. You can't cook. And you also aren't athletic. You know what you can do? You can fucking talk. So that's what I did. I downloaded this app because I heard people were making money off of it. And I said, how the fuck can people monetize off of a clock app? And I studied this app religiously. I downloaded it in January 2021, way later than everyone else. And I said, I'm going to try to make it on this. From January 2021 to October 2021, I sat on this app and posted 2 videos every single day. I didn't want to. I went to work at 7 a.m. on the bus. I got home at 6 p.m. When I cooked dinner, I said, okay, before I can go and relax, I need to think of 2 videos to make because I need fucking money. And that's what I did for 9 months, and I didn't see a fucking penny. Then I got a brand deal that totaled the exact same paycheck amount that I was getting from the corporation that I was working for. And I said, holy fuck, if I go at this, I could eventually maybe quit my full-time job and then do TikTok full-time and create all of my income off of that. So I went from working a corporate job that I was miserable at, serving the big man that I was miserable doing, to now being able to afford my own apartment and nice things. So what exactly is a real job to you? Because from where I come from, a job is doing a service for someone and getting paid for it. And that's how I make my money. I make advertisements for brands that ask me to make advertisements for them. I'm doing a brand a service when I post for them on my page. That is a job, okay? The same way that a realtor doesn't make money if they don't sell a house is the same way I don't make money if I don't land a brand deal. And how do I land brand deals? By constantly coming up here on this app every single day, creating authentic content, and hoping that I can build a community of engaged followers that support me and will want to listen to me. The fact that we have come to a point in life where we are all so collectively miserable that we look forward to an app being banned that currently employs 2 million people, several people that work for ad agencies, has changed the trajectory of small businesses is really, really sad. And guess what? Let's say that the app is banned, and let's say that I have to go back to a real job, which I know how to work, because unlike your narrowed viewpoint, not every influencer is a Nepo baby. Some of us actually worked hard to get here, even though you don't consider it work. But yeah, let's say the app gets banned, I'll go back to work and get a real job. And guess what? You're still not going to be happy at the end of the day, because if you are the type of person who needs other people to be miserable in order for you to feel comfort in your own misery,